On today's episode of Region Automotive, we do a walk around of my new flip project. We jump right into the mechanical repairs, then we take it for a drive to see if the repairs fix the vehicle, and then we jump right into detailing, taking photos, selling it, and finally crunching the numbers. My name is Jeremy, this is Region Automotive, and let's get to work. Okay, so first off, I apologize ahead of time if there's background noise. It's been really cold for the past week or two, and I haven't been able to start that old hunk of metal there, but I finally got it started because it's a little warmer out. So yeah, anyway, the thing's just idling in the background if you hear that. As far as the van goes, overall it's actually pretty clean. Not a lot of rust on the body. Wheel wells look good. Pretty straight down the sides, no major scratches or dents or anything. The one exterior thing that will need some work is the rear hatch there. There's a bit of rust, and then there's kind of a bit of a dent that pushed in, like it's pretty big shallow dent. So I'm actually going to take the inside panel off and see if I can push that dent out from behind. I'm hoping so. And then yeah, passenger side, pretty similar story. Pretty clean. No major scratches or dents on the side, no rust around the arches, so that's really nice. Front end looks good. Doesn't even look like one of the headlights have been replaced actually, like my last couple. The bumper's all straight, everything's straight and in order. While we're on the outside, I actually ordered the panel for the A-pillar there on the door, and then we're missing that bottom trim, so I'm gonna have to source that. Tires look really good too, actually, while I'm here. The winter tires look really good. Factory hubcaps, which is nice. Inside actually looks pretty decent as well. This panel is kind of cracked. I'll just have to put that in place. Overall, it's actually pretty clean. Like when it comes to detailing, you'll just need a quick vac wipe down. The rear is also pretty clean. The guy told me he had the armrest off when he was cleaning the van or something, so it just needs to be screwed back onto the side. So I'll screw that back on. And it came with a second set of all-season tires for the summer, so that's good. Anyway, the mechanical stuff that's wrong with it is it's misfiring pretty good. So we're gonna drive it in the shop and work on that right away. That's gonna be the first thing I fix. And then I noticed quite a bit of sound. I think it's coming from the rear brake. So we're gonna take the tire off and just confirm that it needs pads and rotors before I order them. I forgot to mention earlier that it has 247,000 kilometers, so this many miles. It's a little bit higher, but not bad. It's a 2014, so 10 years old, so not bad. And yeah, the rest of the van's in pretty good shape, and when it's not misfiring, it actually runs pretty well. So I think we'll be able to get some good money for it once we fix it. So the two codes that I'm getting related to the misfire, and this made me a lot less worried, I guess. I always prefer when it's a single cylinder misfire. It's just a lot easier to pinpoint and diagnose. So we have a cylinder 2 misfire. Then it also gave us an injector circuit open cylinder 2. So that's telling me that something's going on with either the fuel injector itself or the fuel injector wiring. And for this specific vehicle, we have to take the intake manifold off to get to the injector. So let's jump right into that. Okay, so getting that intake manifold getting it off was easier than I expected. So all I did was just switch the bad injector to the adjacent cylinder. And the van was doing this before when it sat for a while, like it'd run okay. But after a little bit of driving, especially under some throttle, the misfire would come back. So right now I'm just going for a drive to try to replicate the misfire. And I'm hoping that it moved to the adjacent cylinder. So the misfire came back right away, and it moved to cylinder 4, which is a cylinder I swapped the injector with, so that's great news. So I'm going to pull that intake manifold off and replace it with the new injector I have. And then I had, so cylinder 4 misfire, And then I had an idle air control system RPM higher than expected, so that's just idle high code, I guess. So I'll just double check that all my, because I wasn't there before, so I'll just double check that all the clamps are tight and then make sure I plugged everything else in. But overall, that's good news. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I just checked under the hood and I forgot to plug in that vacuum hose. Looks like that goes to the back of the intake or the throttle body or something. So that would cause our unexpected idle RPM. And then another thing, I'm actually, it's a bad habit. I'm trying to break the habit is like, I'm not, or well, I don't want to say I'm not, I'm trying to break the habit, but like, I'm trying to like be more honest and upfront with you guys, like film everything live that's happening. So that's why I disclosed that RPM issue, because it wasn't there originally, and it's probably a mistake I made. But again, I've been getting lots of feedback that people appreciate, you know, live, real time, like me going through the fixes, diagnosing good and bad. So yeah, with all that being said, the brake pedal was actually firm. I press it, it would go down normally, and then the second time is pretty firm. So I was a little worried about that. So I didn't want to say anything on camera because I wasn't too sure, but that would 100% explain that as well, because it goes to the vacuum, the brake booster. So there's no vacuum going into the booster, so that's why the pedal is stiff. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm going to replace that one injector and then we'll take her for another quick drive just to make sure everything's working properly. So I just took off the rear tire because I wanted to take a look at the rear brakes before I ordered brakes. I also need to measure the size of the rotor, so I had to take it off regardless. But when I was braking, I was hearing like a pulsating. I didn't feel a pulsating. I was hearing one is like dug 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 dug. Like I'll see if I can catch it on video when I go for a drive. But I think I see the issue right there. I was like, I don't know, 85 or 90% sure it's coming. Well, I knew it was coming from the rear, and I was pretty sure I needed rotors and pads. But I just wanted to take a quick look before I ordered parts. Actually, the van was sitting for quite a while before I bought it too. So it looks like that's actually like a rust. That's like an outline of the edge of the pad. And then I believe that's like a breather, a relief in the pad. So yeah, the pad just rusted to the rotor, and then yeah, just rusted lines into the rotor. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm hearing when I apply the brakes is the pad running over those lines. I actually just turned the rotor a little bit to see if we can see the other edge of the pad, and you can literally see the outline of the pad on the rotor. So that's, again, 100% where our noise is coming from. So I will measure these brakes and get a new set of brakes for the rear here. She's running great, boys and girls. That definitely fixed our misfire issue, and then the brakes are working since I plugged that hose back in. And no codes for that idle either. So yeah, before when I was driving on the highway, I wouldn't be able to downshift and accelerate like this. It'd start misfiring like crazy and the engine light would be blinking. So that misfire is fixed with that injector, so that's nice. And then let's see if you can hear the brake noise. I'll brake now. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera. Anyway, all that's left to do now is I'm going to try to pop that dent in the rear, and then I ordered some brakes from my local parts store, so we'll jump into the brakes once I get those. Call me PDR technician Jer. Look how that turned out. In case you can't see, the dent was there before, and on the other side it was there. You can hardly see that. Just kidding. All jokes aside, that turned out okay. Better. Like, yeah, it's kind of what I expected. Kind of like when I do my little rust cleanups or whatever. Like I'm going to touch up the lighter spots with paint, and then I'll tape that off and paint that whole spot. And the idea is, like, again, it's just not the first thing someone notices when they come walk in the back of the car. But yeah, turned out just okay. Think I would make my brother, who's a PDR technician, proud. So we got my $1 million tape job here. This is, again, don't fault me. I'm not a body guy. PDR looks like shit. There's a couple chips when I was popping the dents that like flaked off there. And then there's that bigger spot. So all I'm doing is taping it up. I'm gonna heat up the metal, put a couple coats of light blue paint, actually. Some extra stuff I had from one of my Beamers, actually. So I'm just gonna put a couple coats of that. I'm going to flash it off with the heat gun in between. And yeah, like, again, not a professional body guy. The proper procedure probably would be to replace this hatch, but I don't want to do that. And it's a 10-year-old van. probably going to be used as a work vehicle or a family hauler, so I'm just trying to make it look more presentable for the next guy or gal. So this is where we're at on the van. I went ahead and replaced the rear brakes already. I apologize, I didn't show the process. I had a helper with me in the shop here, and I didn't really want to make things uncomfortable by pulling out the camera and filming. So anyway, those are done. And then it's been a day or two. My paint has dried there. That actually turned out okay. Like the paint went down and the color looks okay. So I'm going to rip off the paper and let's see how it turned out. I must admit that paint match actually did not come out too bad for like a BMW, I think it's called Midnight Black, but it's actually like a dark blue that's just sitting in my garage. Like that turned out all right. I'm happy with that paint match. So last on our list is we're going to do our interior detail now that all the mechanical stuff is fixed. Overall, the van is moderately dirty. It's not too bad. It's just surface rocks and dust and stuff, just usual or normal use. Like I'd say it's really not bad. I've already done a little bit in the back there and stuff. Like this is probably going to take me 2 hours total to detail the inside. Just giving it a nice vac and wipe. All right, now that the interior is nice and clean, we have my signature final step of detailing. Now that our detailing is all done, we're going to snap a couple photos for our ad. So our van has finally sold. After taking photos of it, I listed it online, Facebook, and then Kijiji, my local classified ad. I didn't get a lot of traction. Maybe I posted a short video on this thing and a lot of people gave their opinion on how much it was worth, and a lot of people said it's worth, I don't know, $3 or something like that. Like maybe those guys were right in the sense that I wasn't able to sell it, or I wasn't getting a lot of hits online, like on the classifieds. I think the highest offer I got was $5,000, but we ended up parking it on the highway in this small town where my grandfather lives, and we actually got a lot of interest on the highway. Like we probably got, I don't know, like 10 calls, showed it to 4 or 5 people. A few people were very close to pulling the trigger, and then finally someone pulled the trigger on it. So we ended up selling it for $6,000, which was pretty close to my projected $6,500, but again, that did take quite a bit of time. So my last part here that I put on it was the brakes. That was, I guess it's not too bad, January 13th. Then I ended up selling it on February 13th, so about a month to sell. So as far as the cost goes, I ended up buying the van for $3,300. I bought those door trims off Amazon that were missing or falling off there for $35. Put gas in it to get it to the shop, $40. Had to put a new battery in it. I actually did a video on this thing, picking it up, and then a few other projects that day. And part of the video was me, the fun installing the battery. So that was $125. The injector, I did buy a quality Bosch injector on Amazon. So that was $82 just for the one injector. And then I went to the junkyard, got the trim at the bottom of the fender that was missing there for $6 at the junkyard. And then rear brakes were pretty expensive actually. For the rear pads and rotors was $167 at my supplier. And then paint, I think I ended up returning the paint that I bought because I ended up using that BMW paint, but whatever, I kept it in there. Supplies, paper, tape, paint, I had $30. So my total cost into that one was $37.85. I sold it for $6,000. So if you take the difference of the two, that netted me a profit of $2,215. Not my best profit considering how much I invested. That's 50% on my return, roughly. Probably a little more, 60%, but that's not bad. I honestly can't complain with that. So would I do that project again? I think I would. Like overall, it felt like it's taken a while to sell, but a month's honestly not that bad. I'm used to just them selling like within a week, but a month's not bad. I didn't have to put like a lot of heavy work into it. It's just kind of maintenance stuff, and then that's still a pretty good profit with all things being said. So I'd probably do that project again. So that is my full video on buying, fixing, and selling this van for profit. Thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.